In this session, we'll understand how can you deploy your first job on TrueFoundry. TrueFoundry jobs are different from services in the sense that they enable you to run workloads which are meant to run for a certain duration to complete a specific task. Then the pods terminate and the resources are released. Common scenarios would include training machine learning models on large datasets, or scheduling routine maintenance tasks such as data backups, model retraining, etc., or even performing large-scale batch inference tasks using the models which are already trained. Now let's see how can you deploy a job on TrueFoundry. So let's navigate to the platform, and this is what you see by default. You will see that under deployments, you also have a jobs tab where you can see all the jobs that you have run in the past. Now to create a new job deployment, we'll go to new deployment, and here again we can either use a natural language query to deploy the job, or we can deploy the job manually. Let me select this. Similar to the service deployment, you can select a workspace where the job needs to be deployed. So let me select this and do request your administrator for a workspace if you don't already have one, or even create one from the control panel here. Now you can deploy a TrueFoundry job again in 3 ways, similar to how you did it for the service deployment. We will walk through deploying the code from the GitHub repository, and we'll click next. The first thing to do is to enter the name, and this is deploy first job demo, and we'll deploy this from the source code. Now let's go to the repo, which is again going to be the getting started examples repo. So we'll enter that here, and the branch name by default is main, and the commit SHA is also retrieved. And again, you can change the branch as you see fit with the latest commit ID. You can also change the commit SHA if you see that. The next thing is to build it either using Dockerfile or using the Python code. So we'll select the Python code option because that's what's there in this particular folder. First thing is to mention the path, which is going to be train model, which is just this particular path from the root of the GitHub repository. Then we'll enter the command. Command is nothing but python train.py, which is the training script. We'll skip the Python version because that's automatically detected, and the Python dependencies is also recommended. So we'll mention requirements.txt. And again, a reminder, if you're using the Python code option here, you can only use pip with the requirements.txt. But if you want to use UV or poetry, you need to have a Docker file in the GitHub repository. All right, again, the Docker registry is optional to mention. This is again detected by TrueFoundry automatically. Now, the key thing with jobs is that there are 2 kinds of triggers. One is a manual trigger where you need to trigger the job manually, and the other one is a trigger which is a schedule trigger, which is enabling the job to be run on a schedule. So you can schedule the job to run, let's say, every day, every week, every month, hour, or minute at a specific time, and you can also mention the time zone here. You can also configure the cron string directly, which is equivalent. And one important aspect which comes in when you're scheduling jobs is the concurrency policy, which means that what if a job is still running until the next scheduled run? So in that case, you need to mention what your concurrency policy would be. There are 3 policies. One is you can forbid the new job to run. You can allow that to run as well in addition to the existing job which is running, or you can replace the earlier job and just run the new job. So there are 3 ways in which you can do this. Let me go with the manual option for now. Then again, you can select the resources. You have the CPU option, but you also have GPU options here. Let's select this. So you need to mention the count of GPUs that you're looking for, and accordingly the specifications are filled in. Let's go with CPU for now. And the capacity type is also something you can mention. Again, spot fallback on demand will basically try to place the application on spot instances, but it will fall back to on demand if spot instances are preempted. And again, you can mention additional details like shared memory size. Now, one more thing which comes in handy with jobs is the environment variables, specifically in the case of running ML training jobs, is you also need the data to be retrieved for the trading. And let's say your data is residing on S3. So you need the AWS access ID, the secret access key, and the bucket name during this configuration, right? So it's a good practice to actually mention that here using secrets. For whichever of these environment variables you can create secrets, that's better. And we covered secrets in the service deployments video, but just as a quick recap, it's on the left hand side here, and you can just create a secret. And once you've created a secret, make sure to resync secrets here in the form, and then you can search for the secret and it will show up here and you can add it. Then let's just submit this job deployment and it will create a job deployment. Let's go here and you will see that this particular deployment is getting initialized. It's reusing the existing build because I had already built this image earlier. So it's already using that. And once the job is completed, it will show the status as suspended. So let's go to the versions. So you will see that this is a deploy success. You can also redeploy it. You will be able to see the specification of the YAML file, which was used to actually deploy this behind the scenes. And you can also see the build logs for what exactly happened here. Now notice that the schedule is not showing because this was manually triggered, right? So you can again say run job from UI and you can have an alias name for your triggered job run and we can run this again. Now let me just edit this deployment and show you what a scheduled, let's schedule it every day at, let's say 8 a.m. UTC. And by default, the concurrency policy is forbid. Let's update this. So you will see that the version differences are shown and we can just deploy it. So this is getting initialized and it's reusing the existing build. It's now waiting, but you can see that the schedule is now mentioned at 8 a.m. So this was the basics of how you can deploy a job on TrueFoundry. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know directly.